once again, everybody, welcome back to the table. This is, should need no introduction, but nonetheless, old school tactical. This is from the Airborne expansion, map number 5, which takes up the whole table. Back in the day, I blew out the ink at work. All 8.5 by 11 sheets, enlarged the map. It takes up the whole game table, so I've got myself wedged for Drop Zone Charlie, which is scenario A1, on the far side of the game table that's usually closest to the wall. So I'm wedged in here with the router and the other thing, and cords and window units and lamps and crap. So I don't know how I'm going to get out of here. I think I'm stuck here permanently. That said, what is Drop Zone Charlie? That takes place on June 6, 1944 in Le Chaumont, France. And specifically, we've got the 101st Airborne getting ready to enter thusly and head this way. And I apologize again for the lighting and the shading. I've messed with this long enough. I did give it some consideration though, and believe it or not, this is the best of all possible worlds for the time being, so bear with me. 101st Airborne troops were scattered badly by poor weather, heavy flak, and poor pathfinding. It sounds like me trying to get to work every morning. I know how you feel. The 2nd Battalion of the 506 Parachute Infantry Regiment fared better than most of the other units in hitting their drop zones. Once on the ground, they did their best to group up and complete their objectives. In the early morning hours, elements of the 506th hit the Germans at Le Chaumont. The paratroopers needed to secure exit routes for the divisions landing on the beaches. Now, this is not going to be a how to play. This isn't going to be even a complete playthrough. This is just going to be a kind of a look through the window, a little bit of the gameplay. There's plenty of other videos out there if you guys are hungry for more. No shortage of old school tactical videos, and that is with good reason, because it's a decent game. It's a good game, solid, fun to play. Also, I should add that it may look weird. Well, it feels weird. If you'll notice, this isn't Napoleonic stuff, so I wouldn't call this a full-blown swing back into World War II stuff, but again, you got to mix things up and force yourself to do stuff different, or else you get stuck in a rut. So that's what we're looking at here. It's 5 turns, uses map 5, and again, we're at the north map edge. What else we got here? No offboard assets. Special rules, German player sets up first. That is what they did. Now, I didn't know if I would be coming in, me being the Americans, the Germans, that is to say, as I set up as the Germans. I wonder how many times people say the Germans when they play war games, but the Germans, I didn't know which side, that is to say east or west, this is the west side, that the Americans would come in on. So as such, you're forced to kind of spread out on the map here. I've got 2 rifle squads over here covering the eastern side, and then I've got a rifle squad, a sergeant, and a heavy machine gun covering the western side. We do have wire, which I don't know if that'll make any difference or not, but that's what it says. And also, I would add that I will be playing this as it's meant to be played. No tweaks, no house rules, no fiddling, no tinkering, as I've done so often in the past. Playing this game strictly the way it's meant to be played. I'm using the same pieces that come with the game, the same map. None of that funny stuff is going on. Just the game the way it's meant to be played. All right, enough of that stuff. Let's see. Control hexes mark the structures which must be solely occupied by a player's forces. All hexes of the structure must be free of enemy units to be scored by a side at game end. So that would be this 3 hex major structure here, a 2 hex major structure here. And then we have some crossroads here that need to be held for victory points. Let's see. Yes, there's music in the background. Can't help it. It's like a bag of plasma to somebody that's wounded. You know, if you don't get it, you die. I mean, I'm a music junkie. If I don't get it, I guess I die. So apologies for those that find it distracting and unnerving and all that stuff. And for those that are keeping score, it is soundtrack to John Carpenter's The Thing by Ennio Morricone, the guy that just passed away. All right, I keep veering off course here. All right, so the player with the highest total of victory and enemy casualty points is the victor, right? All right. So what do we have here for the Americans? We've got 2 snipers. We've got 7 airborne units, a lieutenant, a sergeant, a mortar, 2 Browning automatic rifles, and a satchel. What is in the satchel? Overnight things so he can spend the night at his friend's house. Now, over the satchel is a satchel charge. We enter on turn 5, so where most games start turn 1 and then progress upward numerically. Within Old School Tactical, you start, if it's 5 turns, for instance, as is this, you start on turn 5 and work your way down, and I like that better. It makes more sense. Alright, so each enemy force has a morale, which is called gut check in the game, but you might as well just call it morale, because that's what it is. The Germans have a morale of 7, and the Americans have a morale of 6, and what you need to do is roll equal or higher. So kind of a slap in the face to all squad leader enthusiasts, where rolling low is good. In this game you want to roll high, and that goes for combat as well. The higher the better. And I would add that the infantry combat table might look a little funky at first glimpse. First glance. This is the combat table. You'll notice some negatives in here at the top. And we'll run through that when we come to it. But again, it's not something many of us are probably accustomed to seeing. So the flavor of the game consists of impulse points. It is an impulse point driven game. You roll to determine how many impulse points you get, and the impulse points determine how many actions your units can take. So at game start, the Germans get to roll a 1d6 and add 2 to that. That's what we'll do. We've got a 6, which is the maximum we can get, a total of 8 impulse points for the Germans. All right, and then the Americans are going to roll, where are we at here? 3d6. So their potential to get more points is higher. Doesn't mean we will. Watch, we'll get lower. 3d6, what did I tell you? No, yeah? 5, 9, 10, 11. We got more. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And they got 8. Alright, so 11... 6. There we go, there's our 11. What else? So that's that. Once you establish how many impulse points a side gets, you roll for initiative, and it's a simple 2d6 roll for each side. Nothing complicated there. The Germans get a 9. No, that's a 10. Math. Americans get a 6. As such, Germans will go first. And I'm not sure they have a lot they can do because well, the Americans have to enter off map, and to enter off map would consist of an action, right? Well, here's the deal. I don't know that there's going to be anything I can shoot at, but in anticipation of the American arrival, I can move And it's you go, I go. Germans go, Americans go. Germans go, Americans go, for the most part. Well, I have a lamp that's giving off, like, I'm probably going to get sunburned by the time this is over. So Germans are going to go first, right? What do we want to do? Choices, decisions, things and such. Having machine guns fine where it's at. Sergeant's fine where he's at. These guys over here are doing no good, so let's move these guys. Movement factor of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do this. He's going to move from this building here and go 1, 2, 3, 4 into this building here, which is a 2-hex victory building. That 8 action points that they have now becomes 7. He gets a movement marker because he moved. He could fire as well because you're allowed a maximum of 2 actions, but there's nothing to fire at. And I don't think you can, no, you cannot move twice. Oh my back. Alright, so he's done. Now it's the Americans' turn. We can move, we can group move in the game. Maximum of 2 units. You have to have a leader attached, which I do. I don't know that that's what I want to do first. Let's just roll 1 unit out here. We'll be a little cautious. Let's not move the guy with the mortar. Let's move the guy with the satchel. Try and see if we can make it into this building. Can we do that? That would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, we can. Mark him with a move marker. He has moved. He's very moved by what happened. And drop this down to a 4, which now makes 10. Does he have anything to fire at? He does, actually. And we'll stretch the imagination here. We're going to assume, because unless I'm missing something, there's no spotting in the game that needs to take place. You could house rule that real easy. But we're going to assume he has 4 knowledge of this rifle squad in XS5. He is in a heavy structure. Is that what they call that? A heavy structure? Yeah, heavy structure, so don't try and lift it. God, the jokes are just so bad. So he can, for another action, fire, assuming that isn't within range. I believe it is. He has a range of... Yes, range of 5, so it's definitely within range. So now we make this, where it says moved, we're going to make that say used, which means he is done. Once he's done firing, he is done. We're going to drop the American's action points down another notch to 9. So to fire you, God, there's some subtract. What is that? There we go. You subtract the attacker firepower. Attacker firepower minus defender defense. So if attacker firepower is 4, the defender's defense is, I believe that's a 4. Am I doing this right? Yes, defense 4, and he's in a structure. This 6 structure is, oh, that's on 4. Alright, so 4 from 4 is 0. Because we're attacker's firepower minus the defender's defense. Four from 4 is 0. You have the 2. Let's just go. Let's start there. We'll go to the 0 column, and heavy structure is +2, so that 0 becomes a -2, right? And we're going to roll 2 dice and subtract 1 because they moved, so it was moving fire. Sorry that took so long. So make sure I get this right. So we got a 7, which becomes a 6. I don't think that's going to be enough. We just missed a shake and bake, so nothing. So now it's back to the Germans. So see, you go, I go. Until one or the other side runs out of action points or passes, because they have nothing they can do. And I would also add that once you lose up to 5 points worth of casualties, you subtract a die when you go to roll for your action points. Alright? Subtracting die. Yeah, for every 5 casualty points suffered, the side loses 1 impulse point. Oh, it's 1 impulse point on the impulse roll. And the impulse point total cannot fall below 1. So it's not a die. It's 1 point. Alright, back to the Germans. So this guy could fire back. In fact, he could fire twice. Why not? 1, 2, yeah, he can do that. Again, that is 4 against 5. It's already a -1 because the Americans have a defense of 5. Drop that down another 2 for a heavy structure. Roll 2 dice. We don't subtract anything from the dice because he did not move, but we will mark him with a fired marker, and we will drop the Germans' action point total by 1. What's the roll going to be? Higher the better. That's terrible. That's awful. That is nothing. We got a 5. Let's do it again, which will spend him. Drop that away. That leaves the Germans with 5 action points. Can we do better than what we did? We can. We get a 7. And that is also nothing, but we just missed something. Just missed a shake and bake. So now we're back to the Americans. Let's group move. You can group move for 2 action points, right? 1, 2. Move into the woods. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's move into the woods. 1, 2. Nobody can see me right now. 3, 4. We're good. It's 2 action points. I need a move marker. And I really appreciate the moved and fired used marker combo markers. 2 action points, that drops down to 7. Instead of making us have to create our own. Thank you, Shane. And back to Germans. Meanwhile, the Germans. You know what? This heavy machine gun has line of sight to here, does it not? Yeah, it does. I don't know that I want to do that. Let's move him. He's stuck out here in no man's land, so that would be... You know what? I'm going to house rule anyway. I'm going to say you can use bypass movement. He's going to bypass just behind the wire and say he's already behind it. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Can anybody see him? He is not sighted. Drop that German action point total to 4. Mark him with a moved marker. That's how it works. Back to the Americans. We've got... Okay, well, the sniper. I'm not too worried about the snipers yet. Snipers are, they can allow you to target leaders. I guess that's a benefit, and I guess their range is a benefit. I mean, they have a range of 9. That's pretty darn good. Firepower, of course, is very low, and you can't stack together with a sniper. They have to be, they like to be alone. They need their alone time. Let me go here. Let's move this guy. We'll move him where? I don't know. Can we move him into this building? 1, 2, we can. If we do that, Are we? Yes. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to mark him with a move marker. Drop his action point down to 6. He is also going to fire at this heavy machine gun. That is 4. Machine gun has a defense of 3, so that's a 1. But he's in a heavy structure, so that drops him down to -1. And we're going to subtract 1 for our from our die roll for moving. Ooh, we rolled a 9. Come on, that's got to be something here. It is. It is a C. What's a C? A C is a casualty flipper ripper. I think that means you're going to flip the... Yeah, casualties. The unit suffers casualties. If the unit's full strength, the counter's flipped over to the reduced side, and 1 casualty point is scored by the attacker. Flip her over. 1 casualty point for the Americans. That's how that works. Back to the Germans. I don't know we have much we can do but fire with this reduced heavy machine gun at this building. We have to, when you're firing at multiple targets in a hex, and you can only stack a maximum of 2 units. They already say there's 2 units in a leader in a hex. You're going to need to predetermine who you're choosing to fire at here, and one's as good as another at this point. One has a satchel, one has a mortar. Let's fire at the guy with a mortar. Heavy machine gun reduced has a firepower of 2. Have a defense of 5, so now we're at -3 already. Yeah, 2, 3, 5, 3. -2 for the building. This is terrible. We're at the farthest left of the column. No modifiers to the die roll. What do they get? Oh god, they rolled a 3. That is absolutely nothing. Mark him fired. Subtract 1 from 4 makes 3 German action points left. Back to the Americans. Let's keep moving on. 1, 2, 3, 4. I like it. Let's bring him around beside the heavy structure and hiding behind a stone wall. That is a move. Moved. And subtract action points. That's down to 5. What else we got here? Move somebody else. No, German's turn. Nobody to fire at, is there? Yeah, actually there is. We can fire at these guys. So let's make him used. Use another point. Drop that down to 4. Fire. His firepower is 4. Their defense is 4. They cancel each other out. Makes 0. Drop it down to 2 for a heavy structure. And -1 from our die roll because he moved. We get 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? But we drops down to a 9. That is a B for broken. Where's our broken marker? Broken. What does broken mean? Broken means he cannot fire and he cannot move. As if you can see this or read this. Ah, not that funny. He's broken. Doesn't matter if he's used. He's broken now. Our first broken unit of the game. And back to the Germans. Really nothing I can do. Yeah, absolutely nothing. I don't want to... Looks like I wasted some points trying to rally. Can I do that? Let's do that. Spin an impulse point. So let's drop the 3 to a 2 and see if we can rally. And remember, the Germans The morale for these guys, everybody on a side will have the same morale, and it's listed in the scenario. So the Germans have a morale of 7, which means we need to roll a 7 or higher. Rolled a 4, failed. And I don't know if anybody, I think everybody knows this, but for the one guy out there that doesn't, when you roll a 2d6 on average, the most likely roll to pop up first is a 7, and then it branches off from there in either direction from high to low, if that makes sense. What's the Germans? Back to the Americans. What's group move? These guys 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 action points. That drops down to 2. Where's my move marker? Right here. Move marker. Yeah. And do we have a leader there? Better be. Yeah, we're good. Can we fire? Do we have center dot to center dot? No. I need a straight edge. Center dot to center dot. I think we have that shot. I'm trying to see if we can fire at this unit that just broke, this broken unit. I say we got the shot. And I'm firing as a result. So it'll drop down to used, and that would be a group fire, which should probably be 2 points as well, would it not? Group fire. There's group fire, group move. Group fire. Fire groups 87. There's 87. Make sure I do this correctly. Yeah, up to 2 units and their support weapons fire groups must have an attached leader. All that's good to go. Well, oh, he has a bar. Cool. So we have 4, 8, 9. What's this guy's defense if he's broken? I'm not seeing where it affects his defense. So 4 makes plus 5. Plus 2 for the structure makes 3. So we're at the 3 column. They did move, so subtract 1 from our total, which is a 4, 5, 6 becomes a 5. It's going to be something, but not much. Another broken result. So broken unit that becomes broken again is probably casualty reduced, I'm guessing. If an already shaking, if an already broken unit. Oh, if a unit is already broken, further morale results do not affect the unit. It cannot become more broken. So he's just broken like he was. Okay. Germans. What do we want to do here? Nothing we can do, so we can pass. I mean, literally, there's nothing. Well, I can try rally again. Let's rally, try and rally again. And we want a 7 or better, right? Got the 7, so he's rallied. There's that. Back to the Americans. So the Germans have 1 action point left. Now you can see these better from right here's the action points, right? Americans have 2. Back to the Americans and move our snipers in. Movement of 5, so they can even move a little quicker and farther than a normal squad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's put him here. Drops down to 1. He needs a move marker. Does he want to fire? No, he cannot fire. Nothing to fire at. Back to the Germans, they have, well, that's not true. So for 1 action point, our last German action point, they're going to fire at somebody. Well, they're going to fire at this group here because if they were able to fire at them, they can fire back. And we're going to fire at the guy with the bar. He has a firepower of 4. Guy has a defensive 5, so that's -1. He's in the open, so not in any cover, so just -1. And the guy at German firing did not move, so it's just 2 dice 6 unmodified. Becomes a 7. 7 is a shaken, so our target squad with the Browning automatic rifle is shaken. That's the end of the Germans' stuff they can do. 1 point left to work with for the Americans. Do I waste it on? Trying to rally the shaking guy? Do we want to do that? Yeah, let's do that. Let's try and rally. Now the Americans, they only need a 6 or higher to rally. 4, 5, 6, just got it. So he's no longer shaken, and that is the end of the American action points. Brings us to turn 4, and on turn 3, if we make it that far in this video, Germans get reinforcements. What do they get? They get rifle squad with a bundle, grenade bundle, a rifle squad with a light machine gun, another rifle squad, and a rifle squad, and a lieutenant. So a healthy dose of reinforcements on turn 3 for the Germans. Now I have played this scenario, I played this last night, and I was a little worried about balance because Americans did exceptionally well, probably too well. But you know, it all has to do with die rolls and things of that nature. But we'll see how it goes this time. Seems a little more balanced this time around. Not sure why. I guess because of the low die rolls. So now I need to roll for our action points again, right? The Americans roll impulse points. 1 dice 6. No, that's wrong. Where is it? Here it is. 3 dice 6. That's a lot. Good Lord. That's wow. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 action points. There's 12, 13, 14, 15. So no shortage of actions of this turn. And the Germans roll 1 dice 6 plus 2. Remember? No, I don't remember. 4, 5, 6 is their action points. Roll for initiative. Germans will roll first. Thank you very much. 2 dice 6. What do they get? They get an 8. Now the Americans, they get a 2. Germans go first again. Let's clean all this. What is it? Housekeeping. Some rule books like to call it housekeeping. House cleaning. Clean all the stuff off. Get out of here. It's a mess. Alright. What do the Germans like to do? Germans like to just do anything. They just like to do stuff. They don't like to not do stuff. They like to do stuff. Rifle squad here. Feeling pretty trigger happy, so if we go in here, they're still in the open and it's unmodified. Let's do that. 4 coming in here at this 5, which is a -1. No modifiers, and he can fire again if he likes. That's going to drop down to a 5 for his impulse point, doohickey, whatnot. 2 dice 6, 6, 7, 8. 6, 7, 8. Don't be late. B, broken. Guy's broken, and guess what? He's gonna fire again. Don't mind if I do. 5, 6, 7, 8. Drop this impulse point down to 4. He is now used. Feeling used? Should. Got an 8. What's an 8? An 8 is broken. You can't be more broken than broken, so he's already broken, so they'll just have to stay broken. Back to the Americans. Americans got a sniper that's doing nothing over here. I don't know what he's doing over there. What are you doing over there? 1, 2, 3. And if I move here, nobody can see him. Why do you have like to be alone. Such a loner. Recluse. I don't know where I want to move him. I'm not worried about it too much right now. I'm more worried about firing. Let's fire this guy with the bar. 4, 5. Get this guy here. Defensive 4. That is +1. But heavy structure drops it down to a -1. He has not moved. There's no die roll modifier. Let's mark him with a fired marker. Drop this 4 down to a 3. And roll the dice. So see how this flows? It's just kind of almost kind of a relaxing, laid back, easy. You can just go through the motions. Daydream. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, yeah. I was daydreaming. 10 is a CS. What is CS, you ask? That is a casualty, shaken, doohickey. So he flips over. And he might possibly be shaken if he doesn't pass his morale check. And he does not. He needed a 6 or better, or 7 or better. He rolled a 4. So he is reduced and shaken. That was just the first shot, right? Yeah. Well, guess what? He's firing again. Same deal. Let's see what we get this time. Not quite as good. We got a 5, and that is nothing this time around. Drop that down to a 2 for firing again. Back to the germs. Let's see. This guy's. He needs. Okay, yeah. We'll drop this 4 to a 3. And go 1, 2, 3. Mark him moved. I don't know that I want him to fire. Because with only 3 action points left, yeah, he's firing. So, mark him used. Who's he firing at? Drop this down to a 2. Why don't we fire? Can I fire this guy without does that cross this wall? Yeah, I'm gonna say it does, just barely though. Walls and heavy structures have the same defense modifier. So given the choice, I mean, it's firing over here. Call me crazy. Firing over here at. Firing at mortar. He moved. Firing at mortar. Did I drop this down yet? Jesus, I can't remember if I dropped that down. So you have a 4, he has a 5, that's -1. -2, -3 for the heavy structure, and -1 to our die roll for moving. It's an 8. What's an 8? 8 is shaken. What have we done? Actually made this guy's shaking. Can you believe it? Can't remember if I dropped it down, guys, sorry. Back to the Americans. Oh, I got a shaken and a broken. Let's try and fire at this shaken guy. No, yeah, we can. What we got? You know what? I'm overstacked here. No, I'm not. I'm good. It's a lieutenant. So 4, he did not move. Mark him with a fire. Drop that down to 1. 4 going in where? Going in here. Defensive 4, so that cancels each other out. 0 drops down to a -2 for the heavy structure. No die roll modifiers. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. What's an 11? Casualty reduced and shaken if he fails his morale check. Reduced. Oh, we need to score 2 more 1-1 casualty points. If he fails his morale check, he is shaken. 4, 5. They could not pull it off. could not do it, sir. Back to the Germans. Three right here, marking him moved. Now he is a line of fire. Somebody drops down to 1. Let's go ahead and fire him, make him used, and they're done. 4 going into, we're firing at this shaking unit. How about that? Should be the same. Let's see, 4 defensive 5, but he's yeah, there's no, okay, so that's -1, -2, -3. And he moves, so it's -1 to the die roll, as usual. God, he rolled a 3, which is a 2, that's nothing. Then it goes back to the Americans, and I think at this point, I'm going to cut it. I just wanted to do a short little breath of fresh air, run through of something different. I'll finish this off later, see what happens. But yeah, that's you know, that's how the game works. I mean, like I said, it's nice, it flows, relaxing. Obviously not overly complicated, and that's a good thing. There's times when you want your brain to hurt, and there's times when you want your brain to just feel nice. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later, and thanks for watching.